Can I share this table? The question was soft, but it cut through the loud, crowded cafe like someone had turned down the music. Jerome Williams looked up from his black coffee and saw her standing there, a young white woman, maybe 22 or 23. Blonde hair pulled into a messy ponytail, dark jeans, an oversized sweater and a single crutch under her right arm. Where her left leg should have been, there was a slim metal prosthetic, the kind that curved like a question mark. She balanced carefully, eyes shining with nerves and something deeper, like fear. "I'm so sorry to bother you," she added quickly, when he only stared for a second too long. "I know there's almost no space. I really need to be here today. I didn't want to leave." Her voice shook on the last word. "Daddy, you're not listening," 6-year-old Lily complained, a smear of whipped cream on her upper lip. She had been in the middle of telling him about a hamster escaping at school, hands flying all over the place. Jerome blinked, pulling himself back, tall and broad-shouldered, with warm brown eyes and a beard just starting to show silver at the chin. He pushed his chair back at once. "Sorry, baby," he said to Lily, then looked up at the girl with the crutch. "Of course you can sit," he said, already standing to pull out the empty chair at their little corner table by the window. "I'm Jerome. This is my daughter, Lily. We've got room." Relief crashed over the young woman's face so strong that Jerome felt it like sunlight. "Thank you," she breathed. "I'm Autumn." She eased herself into the chair with practiced care and let her shoulders drop for the first time since she'd walked in. "You just saved my whole day." Lily studied her with open curiosity, the way only kids could. "We come here every Saturday," she announced. "It's our special time. Daddy says it's because the muffins are magic, but really, he just likes the coffee." She wrinkled her nose at his plain black drink. "I get hot chocolate with extra whipped cream. What do you get?" Autumn actually laughed, a small sound, but real. "Hot chocolate sounds pretty perfect," she said, "but I'll start with coffee so I don't fall asleep." When a server came by, Autumn ordered coffee and a small croissant, her fingers wrapping around the warm mug like she was holding onto it for more than heat. Jerome noticed her eyes sweeping the room, landing on certain corners, certain chairs, her face tightening for a moment and then smoothing back out. They made small talk. Lily told wild stories about first grade, about Cheeto, the orange class hamster, about her teacher who wore sparkly shoes, about how she was learning to read big kid books now. Autumn listened like every word mattered, asking Lily what her favorite story was and who she sat with at lunch. Jerome stayed mostly quiet, just watching them. There was a softness in Autumn's eyes when she looked at his daughter that tugged at something in his chest. After a while, Autumn set her cup down with both hands, like she needed to hold on to something steady. "I should probably tell you why I said I needed to be here today," she said, staring at the steam. "It's a little weird." Jerome shook his head. "Not weird," he said, "just honest." She took a breath. "It's my birthday," she said. "I'm 23 today, and I couldn't stand the thought of spending it alone." Lily's gasp was so loud that people at nearby tables turned. "It's your birthday," she practically shouted. Without waiting for an answer, she hopped to her feet right there on her chair and burst into song. "Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you." Her tiny voice was high and a little off-key, but full of joy. Jerome laughed in surprise and joined in, his deep voice steadying hers. A woman at the next table smiled and started singing too. An older couple near the door raised their cups and added their voices. By the time they reached the last line, half the Morning Brew Cafe was singing to a girl they'd never met. Autumn covered her mouth with one hand, tears rolling down her cheeks as she smiled. When the song ended, a few people clapped. Lily sat back down proudly. "Everybody needs a birthday song," she said matter-of-factly, licking whipped cream from her finger. "That was." Autumn wiped at her face, laughing a little. "That was the nicest thing anyone's done for me in a long time. Thank you." "We can't stop at just a song," Jerome said, glancing toward the glass case full of pastries. We need cake. Autumn shook her head fast. Oh, no, really, you don't have to. It's not about have to, Jerome said gently. It's about get to. We get to have cake on your birthday. He stood before she could argue more and went to the counter. A few minutes later, he came back balancing a small chocolate cake with white frosting and one tiny candle the barista had found in a drawer. Okay, birthday girl, he said as he set it down. Make a wish. The candle flame flickered. Autumn closed her eyes, lips moving silently, then blew it out. Smoke curled up between them. Someone started singing the last line of Happy Birthday again, and a ripple of laughter passed through the room. When Jerome cut the cake, Lily declared, "The birthday person gets the biggest piece. That's a rule," and handed Autumn a slice loaded with frosting. As the sugar hit and the noise settled, something in the air around their little table shifted. The space felt warmer, like the three of them were sitting inside a bubble that the clatter of cups and hiss of the espresso machine couldn't quite reach. Autumn stared down at her plate, turning her fork in her fingers. "This cafe," she said finally, voice barely above the hum of conversation, "was my place, my family's place." Jerome's hand paused halfway to his mouth. Lily's chewing slowed. "We used to live just down the street," Autumn went on, eyes on a nick in the wood table. "Me, my mom, my dad, and my little sister, Bree." She smiled for a second, a shy, tender curve. "Every Saturday, we came here. My dad always ordered the driest scone on the menu and then complained it was too dry. My mom stole bites from everyone's plate. Bree got strawberry waffles with extra syrup and somehow never spilled." Her smile wobbled. "For those mornings, we weren't busy or tired or stressed. We were just happy." Jerome felt a weight settle in his chest. He reached across the table and rested his large, warm hand over her smaller one. "What happened?" he asked softly. Autumn's eyes filled. She took a breath like it hurt. 2 years ago, there was a gas leak in our building," she said. "Old pipes. The landlord kept saying he'd fix them next month. Next month never came." She blinked hard. "I was asleep when the explosion hit. I woke up under concrete and wood and glass. I couldn't move my left leg at all. I thought I was going to die there." Lily flinched, her little hands gripping her napkin. "They pulled me out after 6 hours," Autumn continued. "By then, my leg was crushed beyond saving. They had to amputate above the knee." She touched the metal curve under the table lightly, as if to prove it. "I woke up in the hospital with one leg gone and everything different." She swallowed, tears running freely now. "My parents and Bree never made it out," she whispered. "They died before anyone could reach them." Silence fell over their corner. Even the coffee grinder seemed to pause. Lily slid off her chair without a word. She walked around the table on her small sneakers and wrapped both arms around Autumn's side, careful of the crutch. "I'm really, really sorry your family died," she said, her voice small but fierce. "That's the saddest thing I ever heard. But you're not by yourself right now. You got us." Autumn let out a sob that sounded like it had been sitting in her chest for 2 years. She hugged Lily close, burying her face in the little girl's curly hair. Jerome stood and walked around too, resting a strong hand on Autumn's shoulder. "She's right," he said quietly. "You're not alone. Not today." They stayed like that for a long moment, 3 people bound together by pain and kindness. Strangers no longer. When Autumn finally pulled back, she sniffed and tried to apologize. "I'm so embarrassed," she said, swiping at her face. "You didn't sign up for all this crying with your coffee." Jerome shook his head. "You don't ever have to say sorry for grief," he said. "If you can't fall apart a little on your birthday with cake in front of you, when can you?" That made her laugh through her tears. She dabbed her eyes with a napkin. "I live with my aunt over the river in Vancouver now," she explained. She's kind. But it's not here. It's not this. She looked around the cafe, her gaze soft. Today, I just wanted to come back, to sit in the place where I remember us all laughing. It took everything I had to walk in on one leg, to face it. When no one would let me share their table, I almost left. She looked at Jerome and Lily, voice breaking. Then you said yes. Lily climbed back into her chair. We say yes to good people, she declared. That's another rule. Jerome checked his watch, surprised by how fast the time had gone. We usually go to the park after this, he said. Lily conquers the swings. I try to keep up. He hesitated, then added, You're welcome to come. No pressure. Autumn's eyes widened. Really? She asked. I don't want to crash your dad-daughter time. You wouldn't be crashing, Lily said before he could answer. You'd be joining. That's different. Autumn smiled, that same, careful, hopeful smile. Then, okay, she said. I'd like that. At Westmoreland Park, Lily flew down slides and raced across wobbly bridges, while Jerome and Autumn sat on a bench. They talked about little things at first. How Jerome taught middle school art, and sometimes came home covered in glitter. How Autumn did graphic design from home, and was slowly getting used to working with her prosthetic. How Lily hated broccoli, but loved Brussels sprouts. How Portland smelled different after rain, like wet leaves and coffee. As the sun dipped a bit lower, the conversation turned deeper. Jerome told her about the divorce, about how he and Nana had married young and loved each other but wanted totally different lives. She's in Seattle now, he said, curator at a gallery. She visits twice a month. We're civil, but it wasn't right. Autumn nodded, eyes on Lily, climbing the monkey bars. At least you had the chance to decide, she said quietly. I had no say in losing my family. It just happened. One night we went to bed. In the morning, everything was gone. Jerome's chest ached. I can't imagine, he said. But I can see you're still here. You're still fighting. That counts. Autumn shrugged, but the words seemed to settle somewhere inside her. When it was time to go, they exchanged numbers without making a big deal out of it. Text me if you ever need someone to share a table, Jerome said lightly. Autumn's eyes met his, serious. Text me if you ever need someone to remind you you're a good dad, she replied. Weeks slid into months, on a gentle rhythm, every Saturday. Autumn joined them at morning brew. Lily claimed Autumn as her grown-up friend and dragged her into board games, leaf-collecting walks, and school art shows. Autumn taught Lily how to draw cartoon animals and how to balance on her one good leg with both arms out, laughing as they wobbled together. Jerome found himself texting Autumn late at night, sharing pictures of awful student doodles and asking her opinion on colors for his classroom mural. She sent him memes about coffee and screenshots of half-finished designs, asking which logo looked better. Somewhere along the line, the ache in Autumn's eyes softened around the edges. Somewhere along the line, the tightness in Jerome's chest that he'd carried since the divorce eased. One June afternoon, sitting across from Autumn in a different cafe, watching her laugh at something Lily said, Jerome realized with a jolt that he was in love with her. He didn't say it. Not then, not yet. Autumn had been hurt too deeply. He had a little girl to think about. He told himself to be patient. Then, one Tuesday evening, everything tilted. His phone buzzed with a call from Nana. He expected the usual quick check-in. Instead, she sounded breathless. I got the job, she said, at the Portland Art Museum. They offered me the curator position. I'm moving back. Jerome gripped the phone. Wow, he said. That's big. She took a breath. I've been thinking about us, she added. About all three of us. Me, you, and Lily. Maybe we gave up too soon. Maybe, with time and therapy in both of us, grown up more. She trailed off, then rushed on. I'm not saying right away. I wonder if we could try again. Someday. For Lily. For a real family. After they hung up, Jerome sat in stunned silence. Part of him felt pulled backward, toward a dream he'd already let go. Another part looked forward to Autumn's face when she laughed, to Lily's obvious love for her, to the quiet safety he felt with them at the same table. He told Lily that her mom was moving back the next day. Her joy exploded so big it seemed to fill the apartment. "This is the best thing ever," she shouted, jumping on the couch. "If Mommy lives here and you live here, you can fall back in love, and we can all live together like a movie. It's perfect." Jerome's heart twisted. "It's not that simple, Star," he said gently. "But we'll figure stuff out." On Saturday, he told Autumn the basic news Nana's job, the move. He didn't mention the maybe hanging in the air. Autumn smiled and said it was good for Lily, but her shoulders stiffened, and something went shuttered behind her eyes. Later that same day, while Jerome stepped outside to take a call, Lily bounced in her seat and shared all her big dreams with Autumn. "Mommy's coming back," she cried, "and I told Daddy they can fall back in love, and we'll be a real family. Isn't that great?" She beamed, waiting for agreement. Autumn's heart cracked like glass. "That would be very special for you," she managed, forcing a smile that made her cheeks ache. That night, alone in her studio, Autumn stared at the ceiling and listened to the city outside her window. Of course Jerome would want his family back together. Of course he would choose Lily's movie ending over anything else. What right did she, a one-legged girl with a broken past, have to hope for a place in that picture? She'd been selfish to let this go so far. Over the next 2 weeks, she pulled away. Texts went from long to short, then to sorry, busy. She skipped one Saturday at the cafe, then another. Jerome felt the loss like missing a step in the dark. On the third Saturday, Lily sat at their table, swinging her legs and staring at the door, eyes hopeful, then slowly dimming. "Why doesn't Miss Autumn come anymore?" she asked. "Did we do something bad?" Jerome's chest hurt. "No, baby," he said. "We didn't." But he had a guess what had scared Autumn off that night. After he tucked Lily into bed and listened to her soft breathing, he grabbed his keys. Rain misted the sidewalks as he drove across town, heart hammering. At Autumn's building, he stood outside her door for a full minute before knocking. When she opened it, her eyes went wide. "Is everything okay?" she blurted. "Is Lily?" "Lily's fine," he said quickly. "I came to talk about you." Inside, her small apartment was neat and full of photos her parents at a picnic. Brianna holding a kitten, pre-accident Autumn on a hiking trail. He sat on the second-hand couch. She stayed standing, arms folded, like she needed the distance. "You've been disappearing," he said, "since I told you about Nana. Did Lily say something?" Autumn stared at the floor. "She's so excited," she whispered. "She wants her parents back together more than anything. She deserves that, Jerome. You all do. I'm not going to be the one in the way." He stood too close, but not touching. "You think you're in the way?" he asked, hurt and disbelief in his voice. "Autumn, you're part of us." She shook her head, tears spilling over. "I was a guest at your table. That's all," she said. "I got too comfortable and started pretending I belonged there. But I don't. Lily needs her real mom. You and Nana need space to figure out if you still." She couldn't finish. Jerome stepped forward, gently catching her hands. "Look at me," he said. When she finally did, he saw her fear plain as day. "Nana and I are not getting back together," he said slowly. "We weren't right then. We're not right now. We will both love Lily. We will both live in this city. But we are not each other's person." Autumn blinked, confused. "But she said she was lonely," Jerome said. "Loneliness makes old ideas look shiny. But my heart is not wondering where it belongs." He took a breath that felt like jumping off a cliff. "It's sitting on a bench in Westmoreland Park, laughing at how you say scone wrong. It's here, with you. Autumn's knees almost gave out. He kept holding her hands. I love you, he said, the words finally free. I tried to ignore it. I tried to be just your friend. But every Saturday that you weren't at our table felt wrong. Every day I didn't get a text from you felt empty. A sob broke out of her. You can't love me, she whispered. I'm this. She gestured at her prosthetic, at the photos, at the invisible cracks inside. I'm missing pieces. I'm a mess. I'm 9 years younger. I have nightmares. I can't even run after Lily if she bolts into the street. Tears poured down. Jerome stepped closer, lifting their joined hands to his chest. You are the bravest person I know, he said. You walked back into the place that held your happiest and worst memories on one leg and asked a stranger for help. You love my daughter so well that you were willing to break your own heart for her dream. That's not less than. That's more than most people ever give. His voice trembled. I don't want a movie fairy tale. I want a real life, with the woman who already feels like home. Her walls, built so carefully over 2 hard years, finally crumbled. I love you too, she choked out. Since that cake, since that stupid birthday song. He laughed, half crying, and then they were in each other's arms, holding on like the world outside had fallen away. He kissed her, gentle and sure, tasting salt and hope and coffee. When they pulled back, both breathing hard, Jerome rested his forehead against hers. Don't walk away from our table again, he whispered. We need you there. She nodded against him. I won't, she promised. Not unless you kick me out. Never happening, he said. Later, as rain tapped at the window, they sat shoulder to shoulder looking at her family photos. For the first time, Autumn spoke about that night without breaking apart. For the first time, she pictured a future that wasn't just her and shadow memories, but her and Jerome and a small girl with whipped cream on her lip the next morning. Jerome sat Lily down at the kitchen table with a bowl of cereal between them. We need to talk about something, he said. Her eyes widened. Am I in trouble? Not at all, he said. This is about Mommy moving back. Her face lit. So you're getting married again, she blurted. We'll all live in the same house, and you'll kiss, and it'll be gross and awesome. He held up a hand. Whoa, he said, smiling even as his heart twinged. Mummy and I are not getting married again. We love you very much, but we're not in love with each other that way anymore. Her smile faltered. But if she's here, and you're here, you could fall back in love, she said, voice small, like in the movies. He reached across and took her little hands. Movies don't show what happens after the credits, he said gently. Sometimes the good people don't make a good married team. We're better as friends, who love the same kid. That's still a family, just a different shape. She thought about that, bottom lip sticking out a bit. Is it because of Miss Autumn? She asked at last. Jerome took a breath. No, he said firmly. Mommy and I decided not to be married a long time before we met Autumn. That part has nothing to do with her. But, he smiled softly, there is something I want you to know about Miss Autumn. I love her, like boyfriend and girlfriend love, grown-up love. Lily's eyes widened, but instead of anger, something like understanding passed through them. I kind of thought so, she said. You laugh different when she's here, and she looks at you like you're not boring. He snorted. I am not boring. She grinned. A little. Her smile faded a bit. Does that mean she'll be my mom now? He shook his head. You already have a mom, he said. No one can ever take that place. If Autumn is in our life, she'll be another grown-up who loves you. You can call her whatever feels right. You don't ever have to choose. Lily's eyes shone. Can she still come to coffee? Every Saturday, if she wants, he said. 6 weeks later, Nena moved back to Portland. The first time she came to pick up Lily at Jerome's apartment, Autumn was there helping Lily choose an outfit for Mommy's first night back. There was a brief, tight moment at the door when the two women faced each other. Nena broke it with a half smile. "You must be Autumn," she said. "I hear about you constantly." Autumn's heart hammered. "I'm not trying to replace you," she blurted. "I would never, I know," Nena said quickly. Lily's made that very clear. Her gaze flicked to Jerome, who was double-checking Lily's overnight bag. "He looks lighter," she added, softer. "He didn't look like that with me, even on our best days." They shared a look that held no jealousy, just acceptance. "Take care of them," Nena said quietly, "both of them." Autumn nodded, eyes stinging. "I will," she promised. Over time, they found a rhythm. Lily spent every other weekend with Nena, plus Wednesdays for dinner. Holidays were divided and sometimes shared. There were awkward school events where everyone had to stand in the same line. But Lily saw all the adults in her life sitting at the same bleachers, clapping for her. That mattered most. 8 months to the day after Autumn had asked to share their table, Saturday morning sunshine spilled through the cafe windows just like before. The morning brew owner had set a small vase of flowers on table 7, even though it was early. Jerome walked in with Lily, who wore a green dress and a huge grin. Autumn waited by the window, her crutch leaning against the wall, hair braided with a white ribbon. "You look nervous," she teased as Jerome sat down. He swallowed. Lily bounced in her seat, barely able to stay quiet. After cocoa and coffee and a muffin split 3 ways, Jerome cleared his throat and stood. Conversation around them slowed as people noticed. He moved to Autumn's side and sank to one knee on the worn wood floor. Lily gasped, even though she knew what was coming. She still gasped anyway. "Autumn," Jerome began, his voice shaking just a little. "The day you asked if you could share this table, I thought I was doing you a favor." He smiled. "But really, you were rescuing me. You walked into our routine and turned it into a life. You sit with my grief. You laugh with my kid. You make our tiny world feel bigger and safer at the same time. You've shown me that family isn't just something you're born into. It's something you build, one small yes at a time." His own eyes shone now. "So I'm asking if you'll say yes again. Will you marry me? Will you marry us?" Lily hopped up, holding out a small velvet box with both hands. Inside was a simple ring that caught the light like a drop of water. Autumn pressed her hands to her mouth, tears spilling over. "Yes," she whispered, then louder, laughing through the tears. "Yes, of course, yes." The cafe erupted in cheers. Somewhere, a familiar voice started singing Happy Birthday, just for the joke of it. And everyone laughed. 6 months later, they stood in that same cafe, now strung with white lights and filled with flowers in mason jars. The owner had closed for the morning just for them, friends, co-workers, Nena, and her new girlfriend, Autumn's aunt. Even Walter from the shop, Jerome, sometimes used to hang out, and everyone squeezed between tables to watch. Lily, in her green dress again, scattered flower petals on the floor until there was a little path. Autumn walked down that path on her crutch, head held high. When they traded vows, Jerome spoke of second chances and quiet mornings and the way Autumn always saved. The last bite of her pastry for Lily, Autumn spoke of loss and survival and how they had turned a place of ghosts into a place of beginnings. When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, Lily shouted, "Finally," and everyone burst into laughter and applause. They cut a small chocolate cake with vanilla frosting, just like the one from Autumn's lonely birthday that wasn't lonely anymore. As they fed each other bites and wiped frosting from their noses, Autumn closed her eyes for a second and felt her parents and Brianna close. Not in a way that hurt, but in a way that warmed. She opened them to see Jerome and Lily watching her, love written plain on their faces. Later, as they danced between the tables to a song playing softly from a speaker, Autumn rested her head on Jerome's chest and whispered, "Thank you for sharing your table." He kissed her hair. "Thank you for asking," he said. Lily spun circles nearby, laughter ringing out like bells. In that small, crowded cafe, with mismatched chairs and sticky floors, and a line of strangers waiting outside. 3 people who had once been broken in different ways moved together, like they had been made for the same story all along, proving that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is ask for a place to sit, and sometimes the kindest thing you can do is say yes and make room for someone who needs to belong.